Hey guys, congratulations. You made it to the final session. And we have really traveled a long journey over the last 6 weeks. Today, we're going to talk about the habits of a loving heart. You know, we've been looking at 1 Corinthians 13 line by line and sometimes word by word to find out what love truly is. And we've seen that love is kind, love is patient, love speaks the truth, love is forgiving, love is unselfish. Today, we're going to consider the power of enduring love. The kind of love that lasts a lifetime. Love that never gives up. It's 1 Corinthians 13:7. It reads this way: love always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Now, I want you to circle all of those always statements. Protects, trusts, hopes, perseveres. Real love endures. That's a fact about God's love, but not necessarily human love. Look, Jeremiah 31:3, it says this way: I have loved you with an everlasting love. That's God's love. God tells us His love is perfect. His love is never going to quit. The Phillips translation of our key verse for this week, it reads this way: 1 Corinthians 13:7. Love knows no limit to its endurance, no end to its trust, no fading of its hope. It can outlast anything. Now, we're going to travel a road this week that you may not expect. There are some habits that you must build into your life so that your love doesn't run dry. These are the habits of a loving heart. We're going to get very practical in this, our last session together in this campaign. These are habits that concern 3 basic areas of your life, and then there are some habits under each area. So let's get to it. If I want to have a love that endures, I must, number 1, develop habits that refresh me physically. Develop habits that refresh me physically. Now, what happens when you're run down? Little issues become big problems. You're more defensive, you're more cranky, you're more critical when you are physically low. There are 3 physical habits of a loving heart that can refresh you. And again, these are very practical. This is not brain surgery. This is very practical. 1, you need rest. You need rest. R-E-S-T. Rest. Sounds kind of simple, doesn't it? Yes, and it's often overlooked. Psalm 127:2 reads, it is senseless for you to work so hard from early morning till late at night. God wants you to get your rest. Rest is so important to the human body that God actually made it one of the 10 commandments. He said you have to rest. It's called the Sabbath rest, right? The Sabbath rest is a time for rest. It's a time for relaxation. It's a time for spiritual refreshing. And if you're not doing that on a weekly basis, look at me, you are sinning. You must rest. Number 2, to recharge yourself physically, you need a balanced diet. A balanced diet. Now, great. Here's a fat guy on the camera telling me I have to have a balanced diet. You know what? I work at that every day of my life. I don't always get it right, but I work at that at every day of my life because to be physically refreshed, you have to have a balanced diet. Psalm 119:73, you made my body, Lord. Now give me sense to heed your laws. Now, a balanced diet is not a hamburger in each hand. I got one here, I got one here. So yeah, that's a balanced diet. No. A balanced diet, you know what that means. Just do it. I need rest. I need a balanced diet. And then 3, I need regular exercise. What? Okay, here's this fat guy again telling me that I need regular exercise. You do. You do. We all do. 1 Corinthians 6:20, honor God with your body. You can be constantly fatigued or you can attempt to be fit. You know, I'm just going to say this as a gee whiz sort of thing. One of the best things that I've done over the past several years for my health is I moved the pastor's study from the building next door to an upstairs room. I have to climb that steep set of stairs at least 10 to 20, I started to say 15, but that would leave me upstairs, 20 times a day. I up and down those stairs. And what I've noticed is a little bit of weight gone, much more strength, much more stamina. You can be tired, or you can attempt to be fit and charge yourself physically. Some people know how to show love. They're just physically drained and are unable to do it. You need rest, you need a balanced diet, and you need regular exercise. The second area that can help you develop a love that endures, okay, to have that love, I must develop habits that recharge me emotionally. Emotionally. To keep on loving, you not only have to keep your physical tank full, but you have to keep your emotional tank full. When it gets low, it's going to show. There are 3 emotional habits that habits of a loving heart that can recharge you. Ready for this? The first one, I need solitude. Solitude. What's that? Time by myself. I need time to be by myself. We call it me time. We call it a whole bunch of other different things. I need solitude. Mark 6:31 says, so many people were coming and going. Jesus said to them, come with me by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest. There was so much activity and so many people that Jesus looked at his boys, he looked at his disciples, and he said, we need to get away by ourselves for just a bit. You need some time alone to let God recharge you. Okay, so I need solitude. 2, I need recreation. Recreation. Now, recreation is not rest. Recreation is when you go out and actually do something physical. Go out and do it, all right? Figure out what it is that recharges you emotionally. If you work with your mind, do something with your hands. If you work with your hands, do something with your mind. You've got to do something to give a little variety in your life. Luke 7:34, speaking of Jesus, said Jesus came enjoying life. When is the last time you did something that was just fun? When is the last time you did something for yourself that was fun? It was recreation. You need to enjoy life because that can recharge you emotionally. And then 3, here's a good one. You need laughter in your life. You need laughter. If you want to develop enduring love, you need laughter in your life because that will help you to love beyond normal limits. Proverbs 17:22 reads, being cheerful keeps you healthy. I like that. Many scientific studies bear out the fact that laughter is good medicine. Laughter is a gift from God. Okay, to develop the ability to love enduringly, I must be refreshed physically through rest, a balanced diet, and exercise. I must be recharged emotionally through solitude, recreation, and laughter. And if I am to have that love that endures, I must develop habits that renew me spiritually. Let's recap. I have to worry about my physical self. I have to worry about my emotional self. And listen, worry about, that's the wrong way. I have to be concerned with my physical self, my emotional self, and I have to develop habits that renew me spiritually. 1 Timothy 4:7 reads, take time and trouble to keep yourselves spiritually fit. Now, how do you do that? How do you stay spiritually fit so that you don't run out of love? There are 3 spiritual habits of a loving heart that can renew you, all right? 1, you need a daily quiet time. a daily quiet time. Now, this is not the same as solitude. This is not me time. This is not you getting away and nobody bothers me. This is a quiet time with God. An intentional time in your schedule that you are alone with God. 2 Corinthians 4:16 reads, "The outward man does indeed suffer wear and tear, but the inward man receives fresh strength." But every day the inward man receives fresh strength. You receive that fresh strength by spending time alone with God. If you have questions about spiritual habits like daily quiet time, then I need you to attend Class 201, Discovering Spiritual Maturity. It's going to roll around again, and when it does, even if you've attended it before, it would be a good idea to attend it again, just to make sure that you're staying on top of these spiritual disciplines. The first one being a daily quiet time with God, because when I spend time with God, people notice that I'm a nicer person. So, spend some quiet time daily with God. 2, the second thing that will help you renew yourself spiritually is you need to be part of a life group. A Christian without a life group is like an orphan. You need people in your life for encouragement. Ecclesiastes 4:9, the first part of the verse says, "You are better having a friend than to be all alone." You are better together, and your life group members need you and you need them. And then the third habit that will renew you spiritually is you need to worship to be spiritually renewed. Worship. Psalm 59:16, "I will sing of your strength in the morning. I will sing of your love, for you are my refuge in times of trouble." Singing builds you up. Worship renews you spiritually. You need these habits in your life that you refresh you physically, to recharge you emotionally, and to renew you spiritually so that you can love enduringly. My guess is that some of you are running on empty in some or all of these tanks. It's a rough deal, isn't it? When you're running on empty and you're trying to do something for somebody else. The truth is, you didn't get that way overnight, and you're not going to fix it overnight. But if you'll take the habits of a loving heart and begin to build them into your life, you'll be on your journey toward spiritual recovery, toward physical recovery, toward emotional recovery. Lean on God and ask for His help. You know, Jesus said, it's Matthew 11:28, "Come to me, all of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest." When you're burned out and you feel like you have nothing left to give, that's when you truly need to rely on God's love in your life. You need to build these habits into your life so that you can feel the love of God flowing in your life again. If you do that, you're going to have a love that endures, a love that always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. You know, as we close this study on love, it all comes down to this. The quality of your relationship to God determines the quality of every other relationship you have. When I'm close to God, it's easy to be close to others. When I'm far from God, I feel far from others. When I'm disconnected from God, I truly disconnect from others. Love brings us to God and closer to God. And that is what love is all about. God wants you to do for others what He has done for you. Now, as you celebrate the Lord's Supper together in your group, have fun. Love on God, love on each other's, and practice what we've taught. Love you guys.